Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning into another Supatease video, and we've got another 9.1 update. I know, update after update after update. We've got some new additional honor talents, and we've got some going away that were quite powerful for some of these specializations. So if you're interested in checking out what class you want to play in 9.1, some of these changes might change your mind as far as what you want to go after. So the first big one on the list here is Havoc Demon Hunter. This is probably the biggest one. Maybe not actually. Holy Priest is right when we get to that. But for Demon Hunter, the Chaotic Imprint honor talent, which was already introduced, is getting buffed. So now you'll get 10% more magic damage on the target for 20 seconds rather than until canceled, whatever that meant. Probably meant that they didn't figure out how long that they wanted it to be yet. So it's only going to be 20 seconds. This is when you use Throw Glaive. It's going to deal magic damage, and whatever damage type it happens to randomly be is going to increase that magic damage to the target. So you might hit Chaos. It's going to be pretty good for you as far as your own DPS. But if you're playing with a partner, you might buff Nature or Fire, and this is going to help you out with that. Still yet to be seen if this talent's really going to be able to trump a lot of other ones, but with the removal or the rework, which is almost a removal of Cover of Darkness, this is the honor talent that increased the chance for your allies to avoid damage while within your darkness effect by 50%, basically making your darkness like a party ice block, has been basically removed because now it's only going to be the radius of darkness is increased by 4 yards. Whoop-de-doo. And its duration of uselessness has been increased by 2 seconds. It's a very minor cooldown without this added 50% effect. So in my mind, although this talent is being reworked, it's basically being removed. This means you probably don't want your Darkness Legendary anymore either. So if you've been working towards that one, I would recommend you avoid it unless you need it for something else. It's not going to be too particularly powerful. I do kind of wonder if they targeted this nerf around that legendary or not, and this is something that they might revert in an expansion where a legendary isn't affecting darkness like this. I do like that they're targeting defense. There's a plethora of defense for a lot of specializations. This one wasn't standing out immediately to me, at least, of all of the defensive-oriented stuff available, but it was one of them. They are now going to be buffing Demonic Origin. Sorry, I had to reread this again. So this is the one that decreases the cooldown of your metamorphosis by 2 minutes, and its duration is going to only be reduced by 10 seconds. It's still going to be a pretty big uptime, so maybe Demonic Origin is going to be getting a lot of play here. They're nerfing Detainment, so now your Imprison is going to last 1 second shorter. However, it looks like they've removed the cooldown increased effect to it, so you can get the Cyclone effect more frequently. This could be really good if that's true for stopping Frenzied Regeneration, stopping Alter Times. This could have a lot of power play there if they've actually removed it. It looks like it has, right, with the cooldown increased but to 60 seconds, which means you'll still have a low cooldown in Prison, but it'll be the really powerful one. And they've removed Eye of Leothras. I've never really enjoyed this talent when I've played it or seen it played. It seemed really tough to fit in to places. It wasn't really doing that much damage anymore. It seemed kind of irrelevant. It's now replaced with Isolated Prey. Your Chaos Nova, Eye Beam, and Fell Rush gain bonuses when striking one target. So if you Chaos Nova one target, you'll get a 1 second extra on your stun. If you Eye Beam one target, the target takes 10% increased damage for 6 seconds. And if you Fell Rush one target, you will generate 35 to 45 Fury. That's a lot of Fury. If you know that you're attacking a single target, like a mage, there's not a lot of pets, this is a very significant bonus. It seems like it could be quite powerful in terms of lockdown. But overall, you are losing, in my mind, one of the strongest honor talents in the game, which is Cover of Darkness, that party ice block. That's going to be a very big hit to your defensive utility overall. This was one of the most valuable reasons to bring a Demon Hunter. So hopefully all those damage buffs that have been applied to your class is going to make up for that loss of defense, because otherwise this one desirable trait has now been lost for Havoc Demon Hunter. Scrolling through, we just got some word changes onto Balanced Druid honor talents. And then for Feral, I don't think we see a slight nerf to Leader of the Pack, so it's going to be healing less frequently. I think, again, that's a good change. Nerfing passive automatic healing in PvP. I think that this is actually damaging to the experience when there's way too much of it. So this, I think, is fair. On top of Feral getting mortal wounds, which has been nerfed slightly as well. It's only going to be a 20% healing reduction, down from 24% when it's fully stacked. So some slight nerfs to Feral, in my mind, I think is going to be justified. Feral is looking to be in a really solid spot, especially with how powerful BM Hunter was going to be. So I think that this is fair, and it's targeting around more or less some good things here to make PvP a better experience overall. Beast Mastery Hunter getting a little bit of a nerf to their honor talents as well. The Beast Within one, Bestial Wrath, is going to inspire you and all nearby allied pets, increasing attack speed by 10%, down from 15%, and providing immunity to fear and horror effects. So only a 10% attack speed, down from 15. Again, I think BM Hunter was going to be in a pretty amazing spot otherwise. So I think that this is kind of a fair reassessment for that honor talent as far as BM Hunter goes. Moving down further, we finally got some notice about monks for Windwalker. Although unfortunately it's not that exciting. Perpetual Paralysis. It's a very fun honor talent to say, as it is fun to play. Paralysis range reduced to 6 yards, so melee range paralysis, but spreads to 2 new enemies when removed. So you could paralyze a warrior, they berserker it, and it spreads to their Death Knight. And then don't know about that one. That one is, I'm just initially just like, why would you want to paralyze people like that? And also, is it like, what's the range on that, right? It says spreads to 2 new enemies. Is there a limit on the range? Can it like spread from the rogue I paralyzed to the healer that's 40 yards away? Maybe that would be okay, but if it's a limited range and it breaks so easily and it removes dots, it's kind of counterintuitive to want to really spread that ability. It's very specific when you want to use Paralyze, so seems a bit weird. Wind Waker is being reworked to your movement enhancing abilities, increases wind walking on allies by 10%, so some extra mobility to your team. It stacks 2 times, and movement impairing effects are removed at 3 stacks, so you can remove snares on yourself. I'm not sure if it's allies. It doesn't make it seem like it's on allies, but you can get out of more snares. It seems like they're doubling down on this, like getting out of as many slows as possible. Maybe this is an anticipation for how good Frostmage is likely to be. But I'm not super stoked about that as the first update for Windwalker honor talents. Now moving down to Discipline, we see a slight buff to Discipline here for Inner Light and Shadow. This is the kind of new, almost chakra type of ability where you can be in one stance and your mana spells are reduced, and then you can go into your other stance and then you're doing more damage and more atonement healing, so you can pick between offense and defense, and they're lowering the cooldown to 6 seconds so you can flip between offense and defense more readily. So that's a buff. It's going to be a bit more high intensity play to Discipline, but I already liked that Discipline for that reason, so I'm pretty excited about this talent. And then finally, we're getting to the Holy Priest one that was like, holy moly, holy moly. Sanctified Ground is removed, which was the circle in the ground that provided Aura Mastery, but it's being replaced with Sanctified Ground. However, it's Holy Word Sanctify, which is your ranged holy spell, and you can reduce the cooldown of your holy words as well. So you can have this, just plop it down anywhere you want, and all of your allies inside of it are immune to silence and interrupt effects. So you can just like, boop, there's a thing, reduce the cooldown, boop, there's a thing, and you can just get a ton of Aura Mastery circles on the ground. So that could be a lot of fun. I'm interested to see if this gets any play with some spellcaster cleaves for Holy Priest. But that's what really stood out to me. Spirit of the Redeemer is now, your Spirit of Redemption is an active ability with only a 2-minute cooldown, down from 3. So you can turn into that angel without having to die to become that angel. On a 2-minute cooldown, that might be a good counter to some sort of all-in Death Knight melee cleaves that run you down. Whereas at 3 minutes, you're struggling to really make it to be able to see it again. So maybe we'll see some use of Spirit of the Redeemer. I think Holy Priest Discipline, you're pretty happy about this update. And then Shadow is getting one that I don't think anyone has really figured out if this is going to be good or bad. It's particularly this one, Megalomania. You gain Surrender to Madness, which I have here as all of your insanity generating abilities generate 100% more insanity, and you can cast while moving for 1 minute, but then you take damage equal to 90% of your maximum health and cannot generate insanity. So instead of that negative element, instead of it killing you, it's only going to reduce you to 35% of your health, which is still a massive spike of damage. And it allows you to get those 2 talents on that row. So up front, I'm like, do I really want Surrender to Madness in PvP? It really depends on the payout. This could make you insanely bursty. Maybe your paladin saves a sacrifice and sacrifices you after you know that you're about to lose all of your health, and it prevents you from dying. So maybe in like a mage shadow priest to give you an insane amount of burst and you can chase people down. It could be good, but it was pretty tough to figure out. It seems really risky if you want to run it. And then Shadow Priest is also getting Void Volley. Upon entering Void form, send a slow-moving bolt of shadow energy at a random location every half a second for 3 seconds, dealing 205% spell power, shadow damage to all targets within 8 yards. So you just start pumping out shadow crashes, it seems like, all over the place. And it's at an enemy location, so I would imagine that they can dodge it. So this is like, again, it's pretty chaotic. This one paired up with that Boomkin one where Starfall calls down stars. I'm kind of wondering what they're trying to do with this motif, because it seems like a very similar one to the one for Balance Druid. It's not standing out too impressively to me, just because it's a random location. So, and Shadow Breeze doesn't move very well, right? So if it shoots over there, you're not going to like pull the warrior into it before they've slowed you and you've not been able to get there. Maybe in a BG and you're just like chucking out these giant void things around, it could be fun. But it's pretty tough other than that. And then, not a big deal, but Unleashed Shield is just getting a slight yard increase. And we already talked about this. Bonds of Fel actually getting nerfed slightly in terms of its damage output for Destro. Destro, I think, was likely anticipated to be a really good spec. And then finally, Warrior. Unfortunately, Warrior here. They really want to make this thing a thing. I don't know if it's going to be, but Warbringer charge roots enemies for 2 seconds and emanates a shockwave past the target. You really wish it was a real shockwave, but it only roots enemies in a 15-yard cone. So you charge a target and then spreads out into a cone. I can't think of many scenarios, at least in Arena and even BGs, where you have one target and everybody else is standing right behind it, so they all get rooted. I feel like that almost never happens. So it is an AoE root. Maybe it prevents people from turtling, but it's still not that big of a deal. It's only a 2-second root. Not too excited about Warrior. But in this patch, if you're a priest, this was the priest patch. That's for sure. And if you like this type of content, you want to stay up to date in the know of 9.1 and what's happening, doing my best to keep these updates rolling in real time. And I'll start doing some kind of summarizations of my thoughts overall when we get them more compiled together. So you want to like top 5 specs and stuff like that, what's looking really good, what could be really fun overall, then I'll be doing that. But this is just another update for you. So I hope that was helpful. Like the video if you liked the video. Comment down below with your thoughts. What's looking most interesting to you about 9.1? Are you going to be re-rolling, picking up some of these specializations? Do you think they're going in the right direction? I'd love to know what you think. So let me know in the comments down below. And if you'd like to follow my gameplay live, you can follow me on twitch.tv/Supatease, and I will be streaming there every day. So right now I'm pretty focused on getting ready for TBC and honor farming, but whenever I have 3v3 offered to me, I'm jumping into that as much as possible. So if that sounds interesting to you, then check out my stream. And other than that, thank you very much for watching the video. I will see you in the next one.